everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower. Today I want to talk about my top 10 favorite Tableau building games. Now, Tableau is not used very often outside of art or things like that. It's not a word most people use throughout the course of a day. And in board gaming, it has come to mean an array of cards placed on a table in front of you, usually cards that activate or you can activate in some manner or fashion. If you check at BoardGameGeek.com, which is the largest database about board games in the world, if you check there for Tableau building, there are many, many games. If you put a card in front of you at all, they count towards this. I'm not 100% sure, exactly what counts as a Tableau building game, but I'll tell you this. The people who like them tend to enjoy them. If you like one, you'll probably like the other. So these are my 10 favorite Tableau building games. So let's get started. Number 10 is Innovation. Innovation is a civilization building game with cards. There's not sweeping armies across a board. You just have some cards, and you're taking these cards from 10 different eras, starting with very basic things like the wheel technology all the way up to getting, missiles and things like that. But each card that you play is being shifted around and placed in front of you under 5 different types of technology. These cards are splayed underneath each other and can be activated to attack the other player, to give yourself points, and sometimes even just straight out win you the game. It's a very much in your face. This is one of the few love it or hate it games that I know about. I tend to like it a lot, but only really best with 2 players. That's Innovation. Number 9 is Deus. Deus is a game, and in this game, this game does not look very good at all. It's a board, you're putting out these little houses and things like that, and taking little discs. The game really could use a pizzazz in the looks department. But what happens is, as you expand and build, you get cards, and every time you activate them, you activate all the cards of that group together. So the more of something you get out there, the better it gets. A Tableau that gets cooler each time you run it, yeah, that's the kind of thing I like to see, which is why Deus is number 9 on my list. Number 8 is a newer addition to the list, just came out last year, and that's Furnace. Furnace is a game in which you are, running a bunch of machines. These are cards you're going to win through an auction. So the game has 2 halves each round. One half's an auction. You're doing this really cool auction where you're either trying to win new machines or you're just trying to get resources to run your machines. And then everyone takes all these cards and these machines and runs them. You're trying to figure out the best order. It's a Tableau. You move the cards around to get what you want. It is a lot of fun. Definitely worth checking out. Furnace. Number 7 is Res Arcana. Now, Res Arcana is the smallest Tableau building style game in here. You have a few cards in your hand. There's a few machines out on the board. And I call it's a game about magic and summoners. But it really does feel like machines, where you're turning some resources from some magic into some of others, and you have to figure out the best combination, the best engine to build amongst just a few cards and a few things, finding the coolest combination. And I find that to be a lot of fun. A lot of people like playing this multiplayer. I think I like it best with 2, but either way, very popular game, Res Arcana. Number 6 is Imperial Settlers Empires of the North. Empires of the North is a game that has many different factions. I believe there's 4 in the base game, and you can buy them in basically packs of 2. And you take these factions, and it's your own deck, and you're slowly playing cards in front of you. You start with maybe a few cards, you'll slowly play more, and each card lets you do more and more things. And this game gives you that just rush as you're like, I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and I'll do this. And it's, kind of, again, trading resources around to do things to get points before your opponent does. But it does so in a very clean way. And one of the cool things about this is every time Portal makes a new faction group for Empires of the North, it feels very completely different than all the rest thus far. Number 5 is St. Petersburg. Now, St. Petersburg is a little bit odd on this list because the stuff that you have in front of you is more passive than machine-oriented. St. Petersburg is split into 4 or 5 different rounds, depending on what version you play. And in those rounds, you're buying cards and you put in front of you. And then those cards will passively give you income or points, or income and points, or points at the end of the game. And you need to buy the cards during the right round so that they activate during the right rounds at the end of the game. It's not a complex game, but it's It's a tricky game to do well at, and it's one that I remember when I first played it, I was kind of ho-hum on it and has since become one of my favorite games. Very abstract, just playing a bunch of cards, but knowing when to take cards that give you money and when to take cards that give you points can really help in this game, St. Petersburg. Number 4 is a civilization game, again, like Innovation. This one's a little bit bigger than that one, though, and a little bit more thematic, and that is Through the Ages. Through the Ages, you are building out a tableau of cards in front of you, and the best way to describe this is saying it's Sid Meier's Civilization, a computer game. Basically, it's that in a card game. There's a bit of war, there's a bit of direct conflict with other people, but there's not a map, there's not pieces moving around. Instead, you're putting cards in front of you, getting a leader who hopefully will focus your strategy for that round. Upgrading luxuries to make sure your people are happy. There are many different things, and this has a lot going on, but feels like a very in-depth game. And then when you're done, you have this nice tableau of cards in front of you Through the Ages. Number 3 is a tie between 2 games because one is the card game of the other, and that is Terraforming Mars and Terraforming Mars Ares Project. Now, Ares Project is probably my favorite amongst the 2, but both these games do the same thing. Ares Project is all cards. Terraforming Mars has a board and a pile of cards, and you're placing these cards in front of you. They will increase your production of certain resources and give you actions that you can take. And in all of these, in both games, you're Terraforming Mars, going for that combined goal everyone's doing, but trying to get the most points along the way. I like Ares Expedition better. I think it's a little bit cleaner. There's a little bit less take that than Terraforming Mars, but Terraforming Mars has 5+ expansions for it and is a more in-depth, longer game. Both of them are a lot of fun, but I didn't want to take up 2 slots in this list with games that are essentially the same theme, even though it's possible to like one and not the other. So that's Terraforming Mars and Ares Expedition. Number 2 is my favorite game currently of all time, and that's Ark Nova. Ark Nova is a game about building a zoo, and in this game you're taking a bunch of actions to get this tableau that you build in front of you of different scientists, different maybe foundation grants, and more importantly, animals. And all these animals give special abilities. Now, the reason this one is not number 1, because number 1, I'll explain about number 1 in a second, but because once the stuff comes in front of you, only some of it keeps going for the rest of the game. Some of it is it's an automatic, you get it, and then you just have a bunch of animals in front of you. The symbols on the animals count, and this game is phenomenally good. I love it. But there's an even better game when just looking at the tableau section, and that's my number 1, which is clearly Race for the Galaxy. Race for the Galaxy, I already mentioned Ares Expedition, is based on Race for the Galaxy and also Terraforming Mars. And this game has been out for years now, but just is fantastic. It is a tableau. You're going to build a tableau of 12 cards. Sometimes more, but usually 12 cards. Planets and technologies. The whole game is about manipulating that. Every card you play gives you discounts and bonuses and more actions that you can play, and they all form together in what feels like a seamless, fantastically fun game. There's another game that some people like better, San Juan, which has very similar mechanisms and a board game version of it, Puerto Rico. But Race for the Galaxy just comes together in such a smooth way. And while, like I said, Ark Nova is my favorite game, when it comes to just the straight tableau section of building those cards in front of you, that is the whole focus, the whole goal, the all and everything of Race for the Galaxy, and I love it. So those are my 10 favorite tableau building games. What's yours? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and these have been my favorite tableau building games on the Dice Tower.